For now, it is SPT switching things up and taking us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. And why is that something special? Why is that quite out of the ordinary? It's because teams in China normally don't like to play on this battleground. So already opening this series with a bang is SPT on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And Tetra is back. How is your mic doing?
Let's find out. Test 1, 2, 3.
Wonderful. Like a siren.
Marvelous. I literally unplugged and replugged everything because unfortunately, due to my mic setup, I have 3 points of failure. So I have to check all of them to make sure I have
Wonderful.
it fixed. For now, we have entered into the draft. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen. And we're starting off with the classic Genji Maiev bans from SPT, or a CE. God, they are not wasting any time. Diablo, the Deckard Cain, and they once again get their hands on that Toronto. Slow down, guys, please. It's not a race.
Can't stop, won't stop. Ain't got no time to waste here. I think that's the motto for both teams. They seem to have figured out what they want and what they don't. So Tyrande once again in the hands of 365. It looks like SPT is like, yeah, sure, that Tyrande looked great, but you also didn't play us. You played KT, so we're gonna show you how we handle the Priestess of Elune. That's a thrall right there. Comfort picks all across the board for CE right now.
It is. So we have 365, Alufal, and KTY already on the board, with Muradin still available for Zhuyu, so he's going to be comfortable unless SPT ban that away, which there is still a possibility of doing so.
Yeah, I think that is exactly the hero that I would consider banning out right now. I mean, the holy trifecta of tanks right now, Muradin, Garrosh, and Diablo.
Whoa. Okay.
Excuse me, what? They already had a support.
Were they afraid of the double support?
We've seen double support in the past with Tyrande in particular, and maybe, but only maybe, CE has tried to go for that style in scrims and practice games against SPT in the past, so maybe they have more information than we do, but still, it's so weird.
It's very weird, but we'll see if it works out for them as they lower their own support options. We see the Tracer coming in here. That is, SPT are mixing it up today. As CE having their Rhaegar, question mark, banned out. They are now going to be able to, if they want to, get Muradin, but maybe someone with more of a point-and-click CC might be better for Tracer. Looking at their composition, though, what is there really that could fit in that? Reyna point-and-click damage, always welcome. And I think it still has to be Muradin, yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, right? We, of course, don't have all the inside information that the Chinese teams do after practicing. A Tassadar in the mix, double support, let's go, baby. But even if they had picked Rhaegar, CE that is, Blaze was already locked in. They wouldn't have had a main tank, or they wouldn't have had a ranged assassin.
Well, this is unusual. Bringing out a Tracer for the first time in probably about a month and a bit.
Yeah.
In this phase, yeah. So really cool to see SPT mixing it up.
I mean, Tracer has... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yes, CE, they have a lot of sustain and a lot of kill potential. If they might not even be on Tracer, could be on Tassadar, etc. So SPT is still going to have to play very carefully.
All right. So the thing is, China, we've basically found out that they haven't played Tracer all phase long. It used to be very popular. Alufal himself, for example, on the side of CE is an absolute monster on this hero. It has still seen play in other regions, though. We have seen Tracers on the weekend. Still sees play every now and then in Korea, still sees play every now and then in NA and EU. But also there, not as frequently anymore. In China, it has been completely extinct. And for SPT to bust it out in a playoff situation in that first game, I think is a smart move because they can test the waters, right? CE is playing with a standard comp. They've been playing this comp for many times now against KT already. And if SPT cracks that standard comfort zone with something more experimental, I think they're coming out with a huge swing in this series. But if it fails, they can always be like, okay, didn't work out. Let's try to play standard and maybe overcome them this way.
Maybe overcome them indeed. But what will we see? What is the style? Well, we obviously know what SPT's style is, but is RCE going to be able to adjust to this? They've only just adjusted to the current meta, and now they have to revert again. It's certainly unusual, but is Tracer the tool required to start defeating the new rise of Tyrande? We are about to find out as we head into Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Tomb of the Spider Queen it is, chosen by SPT, and they are on the left-hand side in the blues. Lucky, Melody C, Misaka, Soap, and ZZH.
And on the right, it is CE with Alufal, XTQ, 365, KTY, and Zhuyu. Winner of this match plays against the one to decide who goes to BlizzCon tomorrow. Once again, starting at 11 a.m. Central European Time, 10 a.m. British Summer Time. Owl finds a druid.
Finds her beloved one, Malfurion.
Indeed.
She using the Love Goddess skin? No? So no kisses for Malfurion.
No,
just
normal. Oh, that would have been great. Just start the game with mwah. Zhuyu gets tossed in by Garrosh, and the damage is dropping a great stun.
Wow.
KTY with yet another save for his
Was that a 4-man stun with just one jet propulsion? It was amazing. Otherwise, I think actually Muradin could have died here. Look at Tracer. Yeah, too fast, too slippery. Dodges all those Luna Flares.
But she's eating a lot of Hunter's Marks already at the start of this game. We are once again seeing that extra spell shielding coming in for Tyrande with only 1 and a bit stuns, and I don't even think it removes roots, so only 1 stun on the board. This makes a lot of sense.
All right, rotations are coming in, and on this map, of course, wave clear is king, and that is probably why Raynor once again goes for that Exterminator. China in particular, they just love Exterminator as of late. Even when there's abundance of slows in the mix, it oftentimes sees play over Ace in the Hole. I think on this map, it makes a lot of sense in particular, and if you look at wave clear on the side of SPT, looking pretty darn solid as well. Tassadar, especially later on in the game, will get rolling with extra storm damage, and Junkrat, you know, with his basic attacks and the AoE cannonballs, super solid in that regard as well.
Zhuyu actually does a little bit of extra damage there to Melody C, as Melody C was the one who started that camp, stunned him to make it so that he got hit by the mercenaries, so nice little cheeky play there.
Speaking of cheeky plays, Misaka is here to make one himself, flips Muradin into the backline, but no real follow-up damage here. Speaking of damage, though, KTY needs to get out of this immediately. I still think he actually had some healings on him from Tyrande, from the Caldera Resistance, because that Pulse Bomb didn't do anything onto him.
Indeed, it was a nice block there. CE actually have a very slight experience lead right now, but gems are pretty even, and this is where the big chunks of experience will come from for either of these teams. As CE clean out this Bruiser Camp, making the most of that Exterminator of Raynor. Clutch talent choice here. Of course, it affects the Web Weavers too, so great move there.
Yeah, so far the teams are just, you know, testing the waters. They're trying to see how much they can do. You know, they're not really committing to those all-out team fights, and the range on Lunar Blaze is just too good for 365. From a safe position, was he able to prevent the turn-in from Tassadar. Good stuff.
They were able to pull back. Melody C eats a couple Raynor hits. Once again, Raynor is very good against Tracer, because especially if he gets those crit autos off, as Tracer has a very low health pool, so having anyone with point-and-click damage is going to do well.
Yeah, point-and-click damage, point-and-click CC, all those tools are super effective against Tracer, who's so nimble and so quick. Especially Raynor, of course, with Ace in the Hole, actually. I think that would have been another argument to burst down the low HP pool of Melody C even more. But even with Exterminator, his hits are going to hit pretty hard. Thrall already completing Echo of the Elements after only 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Luful is in a hurry, it seems.
That he is, but he's able to wrap back around for the moment. Like you said, with the stacks complete, he's going to be able to poke even more aggressively. But he's looking for the turn-in, and right now, even with those full stacks, it doesn't do a huge amount of damage to Garrosh, so Misaka is denying him.
Interesting to see how both teams are rotating between middle and bottom quite a lot here. Normally on Tomb of the Spider Queen, if you play those games in Hero League, for example, or Team League, oftentimes the bottom lane is this lonely island in which the two heroes are just going to, you know, duke it out for the end of the game, and the team that oftentimes gets that gank into the bottom lane will normally shut down a lot of gems from the opposing team. But in this game, not so much. You know, there's a Tyrande stopping by every now and then. Sometimes the gank will come in from Garrosh. So pretty cool to see how flexible both teams are here. But if you look at the gem count, SPT already so close to getting the first set of Web Weavers. CE really needs to be in their tippy toes and deny for the turn-ins.
They have enough of their own as well. If they can find a gap, then they can certainly try. But Tassadar's just being such a pain, as is Junkrat, really preventing CE from getting anywhere near those turn-in points. Bot might be their angle, but once again, Tassadar being too annoying for Blaze. KTY having to pull back down there as Lucky tries to sneak the turn-in. Quick deny there by CE. That would have been exactly enough gems.
And you mentioned it, right? There's a couple of heroes on the side of SPT that are so annoying and so hard to deal with when it comes to shutting down turn-ins. Tassadar, great vision, long distance poke from Junkrat and Malfurion on the Moonfire as well. It's really hard for CE to actually, you know, close the holes, close the gaps, and just finally get a turn in peace. They really need to find a kill, in my opinion, before they are able to do that. Might try find it on the Chaser.
Melody C dodges the Stormbot, the final blink in the arsenal, able to get him out of range. That was so close, but a survival move coming in there. Now Melody C healing back up, but KTY continuing to zone. Alufal still being denied his turn in.
Yeah, whether it's, you know, the Broccoli saying hello, whether it's Moonfires or Psy Storms, it's almost impossible for CE to pay. 29, another storm goes down. 29 tries it again. A Tracer says hello as well. It gets protected by the shield as well. Drops the pulse bomb.
Staying alive for the moment. Good Storm Bolt onto Misaka there. Misaka is tanky as hell though, so is going to survive that very easily. In the meantime, another duel's happening in the top lane. Junkrat still trying to sneak that turn in.
Still the 29 gems on Alufal. Hashtag 29. He's trying, but he is not successful. It is SPT who snuck away with it.
Yeah, once many members of CE rotated up to top lane, SPT moved on to bot, were able to zone away the defensive tools and get their final couple gems in. SPT with the first set of web weavers.
So, how much pressure can SPT apply onto this push, right? Normally, we're not used to seeing, you know, forts fall down or forts getting destroyed, but maybe with a little bit of sieging from Junkrat, maybe with a nice cheeky quick kill on Tracer, they can certainly make something happen. KTY needs to be a little careful here. Already brought down low. Tyrant is here to support him, though. Looks like CE is sending 3 people into defending the bottom lane.
Yeah, they're going to be able to try and burn that down. They're scared of Siege Giant camps, obviously, which are pretty effective on this map, and this is the lane that seems to get ignored for that reason. And it's why mid lane is the one that's actually been kind of left alone. Boss is an endgame tool, Siege Giants are an endgame tool, Bruiser camps lesser so, which is why they're being given, the mid lane's being given a bit less attention.
Oh, Tyrande actually the one stunning Malfurion here first, and Muradin Jui was trying to set up the follow-up CC chain. Now, looks like all wave viewers have been disposed of. Still a little bit of pressure in the mid lane, but that was still a nice, juicy chunk of experience here for SPT, who are getting very dangerously close to level 10 right now, which is going to be a big boon of maybe even enforcing yet another turn-in. They have exactly enough gems, Tetra, but every member of SPT needs to pay.
They are trying. Soap's got 1 gem. He gets his in, but it's SPT's Melody C trying to sneak in the last couple, and he will be denied by Muradin, at least on the first attempt.
At least for the first attempt, as you said, but already 44 out of 55 have been turned in. And with all that scouting, you know, with all that vision and long-distance poke that SPT has in their draft, they just completely shut down CE, who now at least have access to their own heroic abilities. We see the infamous Alufal Sunders. Is that going to be enough to lock down a kill? Tries to go into Malice. Ancestral Rat, but dodged by a recall.
A beautiful recall. He turns it round. Alufal gets in the bunker, though. Dodges the pulse bomb, and it's Garrosh the first to fall. XDQ eats huge damage, but fight or flight armor is applied. He turns round. They look for Soap, but dimensional shift is good. Zhuyu gets played tennis with over the wall, but is able to escape.
All right, can Tracer prevent that turn in? No, not this time. Only 1 gem, I think, was that mattered, and that was turned in finally by C. A strong fight, a good fight, and especially that bunker placement by KTY was so good. Prevented the pulse bomb from killing someone. Strong back and forth.
Strong back and forth indeed, as we finally see CE's web weavers on the way. This is their chance to get a big lead, as they are still even on experience, despite SPT getting the first set of web weavers. So now it's all about that exterminator from Reyna, empowering the push off this middle lane web weaver. Thrall trying to take advantage of the distraction to push the currently unattended top lane, while Blaze just giving his amazing wave clear as well to assist the bot lane push too.
All right, grenades are pouring in here, but the web viewers are doing their thing. They're taking down towers one after the other, slowly and methodically. 39 gems, by the way, still on Alufal. He's currently the richest person on Tomb of the Spreader Queen, and definitely probably the main target for SPT, but sometimes you can actually mind game your opponents as well. If you know that one person is particularly rich, you can actually go for greedy plays only to get reinforced by your teammates and pop the aggressors up.
Storm onto the middle lane, trying to clean that up, but once again, CE with a basically full level lead after that push. They're going to try and take advantage of this. They're very nearly 13. They know if they get a kill, it will be available. They have enough for a second turn in 2, so they would love to be able to chain these. Taunt used onto Zhuyu to try and prevent him from getting away, but he's able to pop the avatar, and as such, Dwarf tosses away. But that is burning 2 heroics here. Shadowstalk was burned too.
That is correct. I mean, that's still a good trade for CE if you think about it, right? They closed in on experience. They even took a slight lead. And they already have so many gems in the bank here. The Lunar Flare coming through, slowing down the advance of SPT, who are now desperately trying to make something happen before level 13 kicks in favor of their opponents. But they can't really make anything happen. Garrosh is struggling more and more to find these openings. Keep in mind, Garrosh doesn't have a funky flash or a crazy dash or something along those lines, right? He has to rely on his own movement speed. Now, Soap in trouble. Whew, Dimension shifts his way to safety.
Webweaver arrives, XTQ in range, but doesn't want to get caught by Garrosh, so waits for Zhu to make the aggressive move. Lucky getting 1v1 by a Luful. Accurate lightning. Wolf, the steel trap doesn't land. Wolf lightning. Misses. There's the heal. Lightning, not off cooldown. Well, there's the Wind Fury, but it was far too late, and a Luful overgreeds and gets punished.
Oh man, those are the situations in which the kill is so close yet so far because you're desperately trying to get your Chain Lightning back off cooldown. The Wolf missed, unfortunately, for him. So without Thrall, I think the gems were safe for the most part. I'm not really sure how many he still had left in his pockets. But they did get the turn in. Without Thrall, of course, a little bit of the momentum is coming to a halt. Top lane is still getting pushed. Bottom fort already down as well. They're still trying to be as pesky, as distracting as humanly possible. CE, that is.
And CE, they would love to be able to make the play to try and kill off that Tracer in the mid lane, but more reinforcements have arrived, so they're going to have to be a little bit more patient here. They creep further forward. Once again, XTQ, consistent pressure onto Misaka.
Yeah, Nullify coming in at level 13 here for Tassadar, by the way. That's certainly going to help shut down the damage of Thrall, for example, if he ends up going deep again. Double stun onto Lunar Blaze. I'm pretty sure 365 has a nice amount of stacks to maximize the damage. And then maybe we're going to see the level 20 Shooting Star, because that one has great synergy with Lunar Blaze. Big team fight coming through.
Zhuyu's able to get into the bunker, keeping him alive, and here comes the Riptide. Zhuyu just whacks it, but it does still do a fair amount of damage to him. That is going to be mid-fort going down. The final remaining fort of SPT killed off as CE begin to creep ahead.
And remember when I highlighted the 44 gems out of 55, guys? That is quite a long time ago, because it really shows how the tides of battle have turned, right? It is now CE in command. It is now CE who's dominating those team fights for the most part. And furthermore, it is also CE with shoved in lane. So whenever SPT was trying to get that turn, and they would already be warned in time because of that vision that mercenaries and minions give. Boom. Nice
just cheeky dodge. Very easy. As they're going to be able to turn in their 33, or at least 11 of them. That's going to be another turn in for SPT. Can they mirror the success that the CE just got with their double turn in? Maybe take down 2 forts, maybe even 1. Any XP right now is good news, because SPT have kept up in experience despite those buildings going down.
So let's actually see how far the lanes are pushed out in favor of CE. The top lane is going to take a while for SPT to reach a structure. Mid lane is currently still defended by some mercenaries. Still, it's probably not going to hold the onslaught. And bottom lane is also getting pressured. And if 2 forts were to fall, SPT would already basically equalize the score in experience, with 16-16 being so close to both teams. That, I think, was a mistake by CE to actually let that turn and go through completely uncontested.
Yeah, and their defense is okay at the moment. Mid is going to fall. Bot should survive until the members of SPT come down and assist. There we go. And KTY's cleaned up most of it, finished the Webweaver. Webweaver's going to finish that off, and that's going to be bot fort surviving. But then my last spider kills it before it dies.
The hero spider, that's for sure, deserves a little bit of love and attention, and maybe a promotion as well. Alufal, in the meantime, steps into a bush, needs to be careful, gets stunned by Garrosh for the time being. Muradin, ever so cheeky, ever so fearless. That shield just got demolished by XDQ as well. We mentioned the beauty of Raynor sometimes against a Tracer, right? You don't have to land abilities all the time. All you can do, and sometimes that will suffice by itself, is just hammer down those strong hitting auto attacks with a good range as well. Still, so many gems left available. 94 for SPT and 26 for CE. Who's going to get the turn in first? Looks like SPT might be the lucky ones.
They have full control of top, but CE have control of bot lane.
Nice distraction.
Are they going to be able to get their turn in? Blaze has the majority of the gems of CE is the issues. Like you said, that distraction of Soap, with Blaze still clearing top lane, means that it is SPT who gets the turn in.
Although Soap had to burn the Archon in order to survive, that was a masterful distraction, you know? Dodging the Stormbolt, dodging the follow-up Feral Spirit by Thrall as well. It distracted the enemy team so much that his own teammates were able to basically get that turn in again. And with the weakened defenses still online for CE after that last push, this might actually be a pretty big turnaround for SPT. Already their experience is snowballing quite significantly, Tetra.
That it is, but we see Alufal. He's still around his team, finally completes Echo of the Elements. They begin to pull back. Sorry, that's Thunderstorm, not Echo of the Elements. I remember my talent names. He completed Echo of the Elements in like the first couple of minutes. We talked about it. As we see with Ricochet and now locked and loaded, Tracer's also adding a little bit of extra siege damage onto the members here. Just being a lot of a pain.
Oh, look at the double storms, man. Zoning out CE and dealing tons of damage as well. A fully stacked Tassadar is no yoke anymore. Say what you will. Turn around though. Sundering is good onto Melody C. If Tracer dies, that push is over, but she survives.
Tracer gets out. We'll wait for a heal of Malfurion, which just comes back up. Mid-fort mid-keep is alive, but the push continues as top keep dropping very low. KTY is stuck up here defending that, and they might lose double keeps here.
This is a dangerous situation for CE to find themselves in. Murden is using every cooldown he has. Avatar, Stone Skin, everything is online for him to buy as much time as needed. Chases down Malfurion as well. CE needs to be careful that their tanks are not getting isolated here. Already the backline has been damaged quite a bit as well.
Ooh. Zhu has to back up here. KTY now in danger. Root onto XTQ. Bunker dropped just in case. Had to try and give Blaze a chance to escape. Charge. Quick Groundbreaker. Just in time. And KTY drops, and that's basically all of CE's gems.
Keep the Riptide at bay. The keep helping out there as well. But look at the health bars of CE. Look at the health bars of SPT. That double support Tracer style is too much to handle. They're too quick. The Broccoli is tanking that keep like an absolute MVP. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is keep number 2 in favor of SPT.
That it is, and that is terrible news for CE, who are now 2 levels behind as level 20 has just been hit. The level 20, along with a bruiser camp into the last remaining keep, might result in a triple keep play for SPT.
All right, which talents are we going to see here? We see the increased cannonball size, of course, for Junkrat. More zoning, more wave clear, more damage, more everything. Such a good talent it is. Tracer, we see nothing out of the ordinary. We see the kick, the knockback, actually. Pretty interesting. Malfurion is still waiting.
And they're being very patient. Like you said, Malfurion, I'm not sure. I assume just the upgrade. That's what I assume
think so
he
too.
would go for. Good dimensional shift by Tassadar. He's still got 30 seconds left until his Archon, so he can't get that Twilight Archon value yet.
Here we go. Serenity coming online now for Malfurion. This could be the game-ending push. So having a particularly powerful Tranquility might be all the difference there is. Infinite Archon as well. I'm not surprised, or wouldn't be surprised, if Soap is going to pull the trigger here immediately. There's many targets that he could attack to keep those duration online. Here's CE. They're desperately trying to hold the tide, to hold that onslaught, but can they do it, Tetcher? Can they defend the core? Webfears are trickling in, they're pouring in and trying to take down the objectives.
The Hyperion's cleared out mid lane. Blaze is clearing out top lane. This keep will certainly fall. The shield is weakened on the CE core, but the fact is they are all alive. They have most of their heroics. They might not have a Zhu for much longer, though, as he gets stuffed. But he's still tanking through. So, but that Twilight Archon, though, begins putting on the pressure. Webweaver makes it to the core. They are beginning to turn around. It's a full 5v5 for CE to stay in this game. Good stun from Misaka. Turn it around. And Zhuyu, Dwarf tossing away point blank Riptide. But KTY survives with the Sundering coming in to protect it. 78% on the core. Are SPT going to continue committing? Yes, they are, because of that Twilight Archon.
Yeah, look at that Twilight Arc and just keeps pounding on that core. But now with a little bit of help, with a little bit of additional healing, CE might be able to hold this. But the zoning, the auto attack, Soap on that Tassadar. He's reigning supreme. Lurden is down. No more frontlining available. And that core is going to fall. SPT, they've done it. They've cracked the defense of CE and they take that lead in the best of 5.
Game number 1 going over to SPT. That level 20 off that double keep play was so clutch and allowed them to push in for a final push to end the game. Very nicely done, and CE, after a valiant performance against KT, are starting to have issues when they beat their longtime rival.